What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the right side of the map in the red color, playing as Set. His name is Joe. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Oranos. His name is Nullus. We have the map Oasis here. And as we get through the year and everyone gets very busy, sometimes it can be very difficult to get these players to play some games. And luckily they've come on, and well, Joe's come on and he's played a couple of games, and I'm going to watch a couple of them and see how they go. Joe's set is obviously one of the strongest sets, or just Egyptians in general, that currently plays the game. He's a very, very strong player indeed. And we'll see how he's going to do in this game. Oasis is sometimes can be a tough map for set players. However, we do see Joe finding himself a lion here. And if you can find yourself your early giraffe, convert those and send them over to this food that you have. Even with two zebra starts, as long as you don't lose your priest, which you're not going to lose to an Oranos, you actually have quite a significant advantage on this map, because you can get 2 monuments and get a very fast advance time with these 2 giraffe, and maybe, and then you can also make baboons in the archaic age if you need to. Little crazy idea there, but if you do that, you're going to be in a really, really good spot. But Joe, he's not going for that strategy here. Maybe a little bit too risky because he didn't find the giraffe straight away. He's actually going to find himself in a bit of a precarious position. He's going to have to send villagers over onto this giraffe here instead of being in his home base, as we also see Nullus able to snipe out one of those hyenas of Set. That's another animal there that is well worth eating after you've scouted the entire map here on this map, because that's just a free 60 food that you can get, which you otherwise wouldn't get. And I think a lot of Set players forget that the animals are actually hunts, and it's very, very good. You don't need to have them for the army all the time. We are going to be seeing the lion roaming around. 75 food in this line. Going to be checking out what he can do there. And now, here's the thing for Nullus. Nullus has gone for an economic guild. It's a 2 zebra spawn here for Nullus. He's moved over onto the giraffe already, and it's going to be out of food incredibly fast. This is one of those maps where I mean, in hindsight, like, I know the map. He doesn't know the map. This map can spawn very differently. If you see 2 zebras, you could also then see 5 giraffe. So sometimes it is better to get to risk and get that hunting dogs. But in this situation, hindsight is 2020, and it would have been better for Nullus to simply do the 4-minute build and neglect to get these giraffe and be fine here. But deciding to get these anyways, he's going to be fine to eat all of this giraffe. You shouldn't worry too much about Joe being able to take him out. Joe needs to throw down a temple at some point here, as he is going to be chucking it up now. If he only leaves 1 villager on this temple, he's not going to be able to advance till 4 minutes. So that's going to be a 5-minute advance time. It takes about a minute for the temple to go up. Thanks so much for the 69 bits, Rave Dave. 69 Lamau. Appreciate you, man. All right, so we'll see how this is all going. Looks like the goat situation here is pretty good for Joe. But I have a feeling that Joe's got a plan here, because Joe didn't use his vision. And there's multiple things you can do with this vision in the early stages of the game. Thing number 1 is to vision onto your opponent's base and then shifting sands in to kill the villagers. But more importantly would be thing number 2, which is steal your opponent's goat. But Nullus is way in front of Joe here. He's separated his goat out into packs of 3. So if you want to use shifting sands onto this, you're not going to be able to get all too much value out of that one. And we will be seeing Nullus going up through Prometheus. No real surprises there, though it does look like it's a touch behind schedule here by just about 6 seconds or so. And is Joe up yet? Joe is now advancing exactly at 5 minutes, like I said, and he's going to have to think about what he wants to do here. We do see the villagers moving over onto the wood. Needs to think about getting husbandry as soon as he possibly can. There's a whole bunch of villagers jumping onto the gold now, as the pharaoh going to be moving home. He has picked up the blue crystal shard, which is going to help his gold and wood gather rate. There are some specific bonuses here, which blue crystal shard does give. You have to be aware of what they are. One of which I believe is if you have hand axe, it does nothing. But if you have bow sword, it gives you a big, big boost. But We'll see if Joe's going to be aware of that or if he even wants to do that anyways. Still no monument thrown up for Joe, and he should be thinking about getting himself husbandry when he can afford it, as he is going to be going for a 5-second town center here, it looks like. So we'll see what Joe's going to get as soon as he hits this next age. We check this this vision out, and he spots out his opponent, and he sees the counter barracks here. Double counter barracks, in fact, has been spotted here. So no real surprises from Nullus. Double counter barracks against Egyptian on this map tends to be completely standard. It allows you to be very, very adaptive to what your opponent does. And we'll see, is Joe going to do anything else? Not really. He's going to be throwing up this town center. He's got a couple of baboon that he's been converting away from his opponent, stealing the lion here as well. Very nice play there. And we aren't seeing any usage of the shifting sands just yet. So a bit of a defensive start here for Joe. Still not getting himself that husbandry. Very, very important, but he hasn't grabbed that one yet, as opposed to Nullus, who I'm sure has gotten himself... Nullus has missed husbandry as well. Both players throwing a lot away there, as we are going to be seeing the Terma moving forward. Going to be looking for something to attack here as the Promethean walks into Joe's base. That's going to get taken out by the town center if he's not careful. But just getting some scouting information with those Promethean offspring, checking everything else out. And now we see the Terma walking in. They're not going to be able to find all too much. The only thing that they can possibly do here is prevent these baboon from being converted, which might be kind of useful. And we'll see how it all goes, as Joe's just going to throw up an armory. Playing this incredibly slow, which I love. He's eating his Gazelle of Set on this town center. He still doesn't have a monument, though, as the Terma are going to be making their way in. Big shockwave here. Is it going to be enough to take the Wadjet down? Yes, it is. Now the question is, will Nullus go after these villages? And it's looking like there is some sack plays here, but with the Pharaoh on the town center, it can be very, very difficult to really make anything happen. We still have the 2 hyenas of Set to eat over here as well. As the Term are going to be swinging around here, they will be greeted by the villagers throwing down the monument to the villagers there, and the towers here going to be shooting immediately, but the villagers are simply going to retreat off of those berries over onto Goat. He's still got plenty of Goat remaining. Only 3 villagers on Gold, and he's got so much wood. I'm not sure what this wood was for, to be honest. He's taken those villagers off of wood finally, and still I don't think we've seen... he does have husbandry, but we don't have pickaxe. We don't have... obviously we don't have Shadoof just yet, because that's a cost favor, and we haven't seen any monuments get thrown up just yet. So Terma get pushed back, and Joe is now throwing villagers over onto this lumber camp. He might throw down a barracks fairly soon, but right now we see Nullus getting 1 town center. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nullus cutting his counter barracks even longer than this, going for this town center as well, and just going mass Terma here, because you know that Joe, he doesn't have food. You know that Joe doesn't have food for the most part. Well, I mean... he's set, but you know that Joe doesn't have food, so you can just very, very easily and safely just say there's no way for Joe to push me without with anything apart from like a chariot archer, siege tower army. So you can just defend with Terma to snipe those chariot archers off, and then when the siege towers come and take your town centers down, you've got villagers there to shank them away. We do see the Terma coming in, going to be able to hit that, snipe that priest there. Nice play. Does actually trade for a Terma, so nice trade for Joe nonetheless, even though he loses his priest. We still haven't seen that 3rd town center getting thrown up just yet. Bit surprised there, actually. He is starting Terma production again, so he might be... Nullus might be going for a 2 town center timing here is kind of the only thing that I can think of, which I don't think is... I don't think it's as good as the slightly delayed 3rd town center grab as a response to 2 town centers. It's only really an Atlantean strategy, but we'll see if it's going to work out for him. The problem is going to be food situation. If Nullus doesn't have the food to advance to the heroic age, what's he really going to do? And then also when he's in the heroic age, he's going to need to have a butt ton of food to produce the destroyers that he needs to make. So it's just going to be a little bit of a difficult situation for him to be in. Anyways, more villagers getting trained out here as the citizen jumping onto their goats. Do we have that husbandry yet? Yes, we do. Let's get that economy going strong. Terma trying to get some picks here, but they're not going to be able to. Is Joe going to the next age? Yes, he is. Up through Nephthys, ready to start spamming out more and more of those slingers. Slingers, you've got to be very, very, very safe with the slingers, because if you get shockwaved and then the Oranos player micros perfectly, you can snipe so many slingers so very, very quickly here. So we'll see if Nullus is going to find anything. The building positioning from Joe is on another level good here. Look at this. Housing situation, temple, more houses here, leaving the back towers naked because he realizes what he's up against. Joe, is he getting himself Shadoof? Yes, he is. So he's going to be able to start getting that gold there. He needs to think about how he's going to be able to get control of this gold mine. I'd love to see, well, he's going to try and throw this wall up, but I'd love to see this get boxed in with walls completely, because then the Terma raids are not going to be able to do all too much. But it is a big ask to make that happen here, as the villagers jumping into the town center are possibly going to make their way over onto this gold mine, as there are a whole bunch of slingers here. Joe might be thinking about throwing up towers here, as he's in such a difficult position. And the problem really here is that Nullus has not identified how bad of a position Joe really is in here, and he's not going to be able to make too much of an attack in here. He is trying to micro in and out, but nice snipes from Joe. We do see these giraffe of set. You do not want to throw these away. These are juicy hunts. He's going to bring those back into his home base here. Does Joe have plow? He does have plow. He's starting to sort that economy out, as the Scorpion men here are going to be just hanging out. More walls coming up, as we do see Nullus putting up the middle walls here, and a military barracks as well. Looking like Nullus is going up to the heroic age through Thea, with the idea probably of spamming Stymphalian birds in order to take out an Ancestors. Very interesting try here from Nullus. We'll see if it's going to work. The other option here, obviously, is just go straight to the Mythic Age off of 2 town centers to hit a really strong Tartarian Gate timing push, which obviously, in my opinion, very strong as well. One thing you can do is, instead of throwing down these farms, is throw your villagers over onto gold, which gathers really quickly. Throw your market down and then buy your way to the Mythic Age, and then throw your farms down as an idea. But Nullus just going to keep trying to poke his head in here, trying to take down a slinger or two. But every time he walks in here, he's losing 1 or 2, 3 Terma for 1 slinger here. Such good defense from Joe so far. But Joe does have to be aware that these Terma, they're not going to be the be all and end all to Nullus's army. Nullus is going to get himself Dryads. Nullus is going to get himself Stymphalian birds. Nullus is going to get himself Murmillo, possibly Contarius here as well. Not a bad idea. So we'll see if that's what he's going to do. To have these villagers ready to throw this town center up. And we don't see any immediacy on all too much here. No market getting thrown down. We do see an immediate palace coming down. So Nullus is going for this kind of 2 town center. Heroic Age all in, it looks like. There could be a way to get, maybe just preemptively getting himself the palace so that he can get out Fire Siphon. But we'll see if that's what he's going to do, as Joe's retreating back here. The villagers making their way up onto this town center. Joe realizing that he doesn't really have much of an answer here in order to get to the next age. If he can get to the Mythic Age here, obviously it'll be very good, but it's very tough to do so. Throwing up a market, everything on gold, not a bad idea, but then he'll run out of gold pretty quickly and you have to move on to more difficult gold mines here and here. So going for the safe 3rd town center in a way. He's got Ancestors, so when Tartarian Gate inevitably gets thrown down, he will be able to cast Ancestors on that, use his villagers to clean that one up, as the Nullus units starting to make their way forward here, as Joe just hanging out. Wants to throw up a Migdol stronghold here very slowly, or very quickly I should say. 9 villages with Pharaoh. That'll shoot up incredibly fast. And let's see how Nullus is going. 125 or 130 population, getting himself out some Arcus, some Murmillo, and some Destroyers. He's not spending that favor on Stymphalian birds like I thought here. I think the Stymphalian bird mass would be really good, because guess what? Joe doesn't have the favor, doesn't have the gold, doesn't have anything to really spam out the priests. But he hasn't done that, and we will be seeing a potential for Nullus to attack this location, as Joe is saying, well, I know what you're doing. I'm ready for you. And Nullus says, I'm trying to get to the Mythic Age here. And spamming units out. Still just 2 town centers. He's trying to push through on this location here. Joe just hanging back, just trying to wait, see what he can do. Is Joe going to the Mythic Age? No, obviously not going to be able to do that. Wants to get himself fortified town centers fairly soon, I'd assume, as he's still trying to make more priests out. Getting ready for those Dryads. Another forward palace coming in. Huge, absolutely huge shockwave there, as those units of Joe get completely sent away there. We do see a big shifting stance into the main base of Joe here, as Nullus has to pull back as this palace is trying to come up. We see the chariot archers focusing down the citizen. It is a hero citizen though, so 234 HP, 34% pierce armor. Going to be able to survive for quite some time, in fact, and it is looking like the palace does get up and he saves that villager as well. Nice play, but now the army of Joe going to circle around this palace here. He doesn't have a siege works out just yet, so he can't really take it down too efficiently. But Nullus, he's got to be thinking about how does he get to the next age? Does he have himself sharp mine? Yes, no quarry though, so that gold economy is not coming in too fast. He does have those dryads starting to pop out now, but he does have to deal with the priest, with the pharaoh that are here. He doesn't have too many Arcus out. Now it's 130 or 130 population. Joe 145 or 145 population. Also Joe very close to the mythic age. He's got a lot of wood in the bank that he can very, very easily sell, and that's exactly what he does. Sells the wood, buys the food, going to the mythic age for about a 17 or a 16 minute age up there with Horus. This is going to be a very, very easy way to push through this location. Is Nullus going to the next age? No, he's finished his villages. He's getting his that third town center very, very late. And he is going to be stuck in this heroic age for quite some time. Maybe there's a way in which you can make Helios work here with the Atlantean army instead of going for hehexd, the standard. We do see this Migdol stronghold now starting to get taken down. The Pharaoh gets immediately targeted there by Nullus. Nice try, but beautiful micro from Joe as the Migdol stronghold going down incredibly fast. The village is starting to repair this one back up. Look at these units. There's only 4 destroyers here and 3 dryads, but this Migdol stronghold goes down so quickly, and it is looking like Nullus has to pull back here. Still not advancing to the next stage. Long ways away. Still no fortified town center either. So a tornado onto a town center is going to do a whole lot of damage as well. And now Joe is just going to slowly start expanding out here away from Nullus or into Nullus's territory. We even see a cheeky wall getting thrown up over here by Joe already, which I absolutely love. We do see the Pharaoh getting taken down there as the army of Nullus a little bit too strong for this army. Those destroyers soak a lot. You have to focus fire everything down here, as we do see the priest focus firing the dryads, and you need to get those chariot archers onto those archer units, as well as the slingers onto the archer units. So just kind of ignore the destroyers a little bit. But meanwhile, we've got the army of Nullus flowing into Joe's second gold mine, which is almost expired here. And Joe is simply just going to retreat away from here, throw down some more military buildings, maybe make his way over onto this gold mine a little bit away from Nullus's army. And that Horus just about to hit for Joe. There it goes. He's going to give him so much army here. When Set hits the mythic age, Set gets so much more than every other civilization because of these 3 rhinoceros of Set, these 2 hippo of Set. These are all got tons of damage, tons of HP, and very, very good armor as well. So these units here, you can't forget about them. Incredibly strong. Really, really helps Set's mythic age power spike, as he's going to be able to push through the Atlantean army very, very nicely. Meanwhile, no real micro happening here from Joe on this location, as the destroyers tanking so much, and those Arcus heroes, and Arcus, Terma, everything else doing so much damage. But now we see Joe microing, and he's going to be able to clean up those archers very, very fast. Nice play there from Joe to be recognizing that. Good awareness. And he's going to be able to clean that army up. Still very close game though, as Joe still has himself that tornado, but doesn't want to use it just yet. Maybe holding on to it for some sort of stabilization here. Sitting with a lot of resources in the back, not spending them all too well. Just about to lose this Migdol stronghold to the heavy destroyer push. Nullus is still not on his way to the next age. Lots of villages on wood with lots of wood in the bank. Might need to get those onto gold and food instead of wood here, because you really don't need to be making too many Arcus in this situation. I think that the better army comp at this point would be Contarius Murmillo Destroyer than the Arcus. You don't really see much use for the Arcus here. There's no real spearmen getting built or anything. You can take down those destroyers, those axemen obviously, but I feel like you can use Contarius to do that a little bit more efficiently. So if you just have like 1 or 2 villages on wood and the rest on farms here, you'd be able to afford that, but not what he's going for. And Joe now able to start pushing through. We do see some cheeky raids onto this location, as Joe has to relocate onto a different gold mine. It's the town center going to go after these heavy Murmillo very, very nicely here. Good play from Nullus. Very good awareness there to be raiding that while he's getting pushed back, but he's still very low on resources as opposed to Joe, who's got plenty in the bank. No real armory upgrades being spent or being bought just yet for Joe. He's only got the Pierce armor. It'll be very, very good for him to get something a little bit more. The Axeman can now start going after these infantry units. Got to be careful not to have the Axeman onto the Archers here, who are kind of running forward and just bit of fodder there for the infantry units, but Nullus still can't fight this one. The Concave, not the best. Going to be pulling back even further as the siege towers are able to just decimate the military barracks. I wouldn't mind seeing this getting taken out as well. We do see an Ancestors getting thrown down onto this position and a Tornado going down, and in that moment, Nullus says, all right, Joe, you got me in this one. GG. Well played. But you do have to ask the big questions here. What were the weaknesses, as we can see, as we can learn from what actually happened here? If you notice your opponent doesn't have too much food, if you notice that that's going to be a problem for them as Atlantean, you got to think about other ways forward. The big advantage that Atlantean has over the other civilizations in this game is that their farm transition is super clean, super easy, and the amount of resources you get from it is just a lot better than say an Egyptian farm transition, even with the Shadoof. So try and play towards that. Had Nullus gone, say, I want to say 8 Terma into town center, into full Terma, putting a lot of pressure on, I think that Joe would have been in a very, very difficult position here, because then you follow that up with the Mythic Age, with then the Murmillos start coming in, then the Contarius start coming in, then the Fire Siphon drops with the Tartarian Gate, and honestly, Joe would have been in a very, very difficult position here. But Joe managing to get away with it here in this game. Very, very nice hold. I loved all the building positioning. This is something you can really, really learn from here. This kind of building position, using the houses, building walls with the houses, making sure that everything is locked off so the Oranos player can't just run freely into your base, and it's very, very good there. So well played by Joe. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next game.